This video is going to sound very negative because I just beat the game and I don't think I had a very good time with it, but I'm appreciative that somebody finally ported this game to consoles. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is almost 30 years old. This is one of the first horror point-and-click adventures that was ever made. At least it's the first one that I ever played, and it completely terrified me as a kid. The fact that you could just die, the fact that you could do puzzles wrong, the fact that it was so vague, so obtuse, so difficult to survive, it made it a very creepy proposition. But now, in 2025, I feel like I respect what this game is trying to do more. I respect how incredibly messed up the story itself is, but this version of it, it's kind of lazy. Let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So, during the late 80s and early 90s, there was very much this big explosion of cutting-edge, very revolutionary sci-fi coming out. Tons of short stories, main stuff, and I really grew up appreciating stuff like Neuromancer and Ender's Game and, all the classic sci-fi. But a book that came out that when I read as a kid totally just freaked me out was Harlan Ellison's I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. But it was even cooler because this is a dystopian future. It's basically hell. There's this supercomputer called AM, Allied Master Computer. It's wiped out the entire human race except for 5 people. It's decided that it hates humanity so much, it's going to put 5 people into special torture cells and just torture them for 120 years. And now that everybody's dead, they're taking each one of them out to go through their own personal gauntlet, to face their internal demons and kind of question their life. What is it that they deserved? Like, what did they do that's possibly so bad that deserves eternal torment in this waking hell? Now, the game is a point-and-click adventure, which, if you haven't played before, especially the old kind, they are incredibly difficult because they don't work on normal logic. In these games, instead of having just like a button to interact or a button to walk around, you click on the stuff you want. There's walk to, take, use, swallow, give, and push. Those are the main buttons you're going to be pressing in order to interact with stuff. And of course, an inspect button. And the game just drops you into it. There's no missions, there's no instructions. It just says, here is the game. So a lot of times you're kind of wandering around just touching objects together, and there really isn't a cohesive, you really can't predict how some stuff's going to work. Oh, you found a fork hidden under the fridge. Cramming it into the engine will open up the next door. Oh, you found a pair of tongs that lets you pick up a piece of yellow cloth, which you can use to blindfold yourself, which will give you a cup that lets you drink water so you can progress to the riddle sphinx. This game, the puzzles are not just hard. They defy the mind because I feel like the best puzzles are a lot of times like the best jokes. They age well. You can look at it and constantly find the amusement, the humor, the interesting pokes and jabs they're trying to get at. But the puzzles here, they are just pointlessly, needlessly disconnected. I straight up got stuck about so many times trying to find out, okay, I found a bed sheet. Maybe I can rappel up this balcony. Oh, I need a second bed sheet. So now I have to explore the entire level again to find a different bed sheet. The hardest part about this game is that you can die. And when you die, it just ruins that save file. Now, thankfully, in this new version, you can create save points at any time. And yes, I did create a lot of save points because while you're playing through these people's chapters, the 4 characters we have to play as here are Gorister, Ellen, Nimdoc, Benny, and Ted. And this is by far the best part of the game itself, is them exploring their own personal torments. This is the first time they've been let out of their cells in 119 years. And now that they're coming out, they're immediately trying to react to, okay, how do I off myself so I don't go back into that torture? How do I deal with the problems of losing my family? Or in some cases, the sins they've done. I'm not going to spoil it, but some of these people, I mean, they committed actual war crimes and stuff. The voice acting is amazing. The fact that Harlan Ellison actually voices M himself, there is a really wonderful world building in this that truly cannot be understated. Harlan Ellison, the original writer of that story, came back to flesh this out because the original story was pretty short. It's like 20 pages maybe or something. It was incredibly short. So turning this into a full-fledged 3-hour-long game that you can buy for $10, he really gave a lot of extra backstory of conflicted nature of really helping this world sort of explore the depths of darkness. But I do still have a problem with the fact that I don't like the fact that it's so vague as to where you're supposed to go. Now, maybe I'm going to sound like a big baby here. I wish that they had put something in here to make it feel modern, not just a straight port. I wish that they had done something with this. You just use the D-pad to do like fine tuning on the reticule, and then basically turning the mouse, you use the joystick to move the mouse quickly. So it means that a lot of times you have to click very tiny exact pixels on the screen to find hidden objects or solve particular puzzles and stuff like that. There were times where I had to just look at a guide, and when I saw what I was supposed to do, I was actually dumbfounded. Some of the stuff says, oh, click screen 1 and screen 3, and if you click screen 4, you just auto lose and you've destroyed your save file. There are so many times in this where you can just break your save file, which, let's face it, that was common in 1995. You know, there were a ton of games that were made to be silly and goofy and frustrating at times, but I wish that they had put something in this, not even handheldy, but I wish that I could use the D-pad to walk around. I wish they'd put in some modern controls where instead of having this menu that takes up half the damn screen, maybe make it so I can, I don't know, make it where I can just have the button say on the screen, like, hey, square will always be use, circle will always be go, triangle will always be take. I kind of wish they had done something to modernize the presentation. You can put on a smoothing filter, but I tested it. It does not look very good. I mean, some people kind of like that stuff, but for me, I always like the pixel perfect graininess of older games. I feel like it gives your brain more room to kind of let your imagination take over. Essentially, if you've never played it, I still think that this is an interesting game. It is an interesting timepiece from that early era of point-and-click adventures, but that rawness, I think it ends up being a very big detriment. All the characters are cool. Their puzzles are cool. Their locations are cool. The graphics are cool. The music, while limited, is cool. The voice acting is truly top-notch. The writing is perfection. But so much of this, I do think it's overly reliant on just you bashing your head against it. The amount of times I did something the game did not want me to do and it just instant failed me, that's not fun. It's difficult to put a number on this. Typically at the end of my reviews, I like to put a big number on it, but this is much closer to a book than it is a game. You know, it doesn't have gameplay in the standard sense. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad it's only $10, but I would actually say that this is the kind of game where if you grew up with it and you want to play it again, you're going to have a great time. But if you're a first timer trying to just raw dog this without walkthrough, you're probably not going to be able to get anywhere at all. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts about I have no mouth and I must scream. I'm glad it's here. Glad I played it. Glad I conquered it on PlayStation. Very unique time. And, you know, it's always fun to pop some trophies and see some spookiness. How do you feel about it, though? Have you ever played I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream? And is this something that you're actually interested in? I'm kind of glad whenever they bring back esoteric retro ports. It's very good for the history of gaming. Thanks so much for watching. If you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.